Welcome to Behind the Boot, a Louisiana sports podcast. Your favorite weekly show bringing you the latest news in Saints, Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and more. Enjoy the show.
What up? What up? Welcome back to another week of Behind the Boot, your favorite weekly Louisiana sports podcast, man. When we talking everything from Pelicans to Saints, ULF, yet LSU, whatever it is, we got you. Um, I kind of want to start this week off just with kind of a recap of everything that's been going on, especially with the Pelicans. But before we get into it, Jerrette, how you doing, man?
Right, can't complain. I'm a little down after that disgusting display I just saw, Pels game, but other than that, I'm all right. All right.
Definitely, man. And I do want to shout out Dan. He couldn't be with us this week because he actually went down to the Smoothie King Center to check out the Pels, and they lost to the Magic, which we'll get into in a second. But I did want to start by reviewing everything from the past week. And by the way, this is episode 28 Behind the Boot, your favorite Louisiana sports podcast. But let's get into it, man. So interesting week this past week. I know since the last time we podcasted, they played 4 games. We actually recorded on the night of the Magic game. But we'll start off with the Friday game at the Jazz. Very impressive win against the Jazz. Spirits were really high going into that game, man. You just come off of a big win from the Kings. Brandon Ingram did what Brandon Ingram does. He had 29 and 8 with 6 assists. Played really good. Team played good as a whole. The ball was moving. Herb locked up Donovan Mitchell. It was a good game, man. Like I think I don't know. I guess I can let you speak on it if you got anything that stuck out to you from that game in particular. But I can honestly say for me, that game let me know like, all right, this team is for real. We better than a whole lot of people think. And if we do make it to that play-in, we're not an easy out. But I'll ask you, man, anything stuck out to you from the Jazz game?
My opinion, it was the energy for me. Like they was flying around everywhere. Like they was covering all, rotations. Like every time someone would be out of position, someone else be there, right there to step up for them. Those rotations off a double team, like everything was crisp. Everything was on like the money, like everything from offense, they was clicking to defense end. So that's why after that game, everyone was like, oh yeah, it's if this is the team we're gonna get, then no one's gonna want to see us in this playing game or like the playoffs in general. So everybody was, man, this team is really good. And everybody like BI was cooking early. CJ was cooking, and the offense was just flowing. Nothing was forced. So and for me personally, it was more the defensive side that was more impressed on, because I mean, Utah like a top 2, top 3 offense in the league, and they was just on like a 6-game, 7-game winning streak. Coming off. So if we was gonna lose any game, it was probably gonna be that one. But man, they played damn good that game. I ain't much lie.
Yeah, and the thing that stuck out for me was they had 29 assists. And that's something that I think when this team is playing good, it's real simple. They play off of ball movement. Players playing off the ball, players getting to their spots, players knocking down their shots. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of different things that go into winning games. And I think for the Pelicans team, being that, you know, not a lot of guys. Well, not even not a lot. I don't think any guy on the roster outside of Bi and CJ McCollum can create their own shot. You you have to move the ball, and that's something that they did well in that game. And then defensively, they played good. They held the Jazz to 34% shooting from the field. That was outstanding. You know what I mean? It was just a lot to be impressed on, and it was something that I thought they were gonna build from. And I guess that's when we can kind of go into the next game, which was the Nuggets game. And that one was one of the more frustrating games of the year, but I feel like as a whole, the group played really well. You know what I mean? You took Denver to overtime, you ended up losing the game, but quarters 1 through 3, they played really good. You know what I mean? So what do you think about just the way that game ended? Because I know something for me was I felt like it should have never went to overtime. It shouldn't have. We missed too many clutch free throws down the stretch. Um, Getting off to those slow starts, man. Like we scored 19 to they 35 in the first quarter, which is starting to become a theme. And we'll kind of get to that more as we go through through the recap and everything. But these first quarter starts where they dig themselves in a hole early and you got to fight through the game to come back, that's starting to get us. But you got to knock down your free throws, man. Like, what's your thoughts on that game right there?
Man, you can blame a lot of things on that game, in my opinion. You can blame free throws. You can blame Jonas getting in foul trouble early. You can blame Billy just being too soft to handle Jokic. You can you can blame a lot of things, but I think for me it was more whenever Jonas got fouled out, I knew that was it. That because no one was going to stop Jokic. Even Jonas was having trouble stopping him. But once that happened, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Because there's no way Billy gonna stop him. And that would just it would just be a matter of time before Monty Morris or Will Barton can catch a wide open three, a wide open shot at three and just hit it. It ain't gonna last all game because those guys are good shooters. So they were just giving the ball to Jokic every time. Like every play, every possession, he was touching the ball and he was the main guy with the ball. If it wasn't him scoring, then it was him dishing an assist. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and not to take nothing from Jokic, because he is MVP. Like he won MVP for a reason. This guy is top talent, probably like one of the best centers between him and Joel Embiid in the NBA right now. But they had a lead. I think what was it? It was up 10 with like 3 minutes left or 5 minutes left to go. You let that down. And like you said, free throws. Like, why is Devontae Graham in the game? To be honest, I don't know. But he missed one. Bi went to the free throw line. He missed one. And I think CJ McCollum also missed one down the stretch also. It's like, come on, guys. It shouldn't even be coming down to a last possession with the last couple of seconds. And of course, Joker's gonna get the ball. But it shouldn't even came down to a tight game like that and going to overtime. But like you said, they played great 1 through 3 quarters. And besides the first bit of the first quarter, but they played great for the most part, and they just let it slip away, bro. Uh,
Yeah,
tip
they
tip
they
your
they
hand to
played
Jokic.
they played like 2.5 quarters of perfect basketball, minus the first quarter, and then minus that last half of the fourth. They played exactly how you would want them to play when you're playing a team like Denver. Um, it just really stick out to me, and I know that it's that game in particular was a bunch of things coming together that made the loss happen. But something that stick out to me is I feel like Willie Green has a tendency of not being able to adjust the game plan on the fly. And the reason I say that is because I know, like, I want to preface what I'm saying with I love Willie Green and I do think he's the coach for our team, right? But as a rookie coach, you would have to know that, he's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna be things that he should work on or improve on. And making adjustments on the fly has to be one. Like, I think letting Nikola Jokic be one-on-one against Willie Hernangomez is like giving them free points. It's like you said, man. I really want to see Will Barton have to hit a shot. I want to see somebody else have to hit a shot because if in my opinion, if you let Jokic go one-on-one with Billy, that's a bucket. Like, the odds of that not converting into points is really slim. And he watched Billy get cooked the entire fourth quarter. Like, I could see if it was, the last couple possessions and JV fouled out and you wanted to see what Billy could do, but you watched him get cooked over and over and, like, I just don't
Over and over
understand
again,
what
bro.
what you would have to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think what would have been the drop off by just trying Jackson Hayes in there. Cause and shout out to Chaz, that's always in the spaces, man. I think his ad is Cheddar Chaz on Twitter. So this is not my take at all. But uh Chaz mentioned in the last time we played Denver, when we actually started to have success against Jokic, it was Jackson Garden Jokic with JV coming off the help. And that worked. So the fact that Willie didn't even try to, like, go back to what worked shows me that, like, I just don't know. Like, a lot of his decisions that he made is questionable, and it stood out in that game. You know what I mean? Like, I think you have to have the ability to know that sometimes you'll game plan, sometimes you'll draw shit up on the clipboard, you'll have your key points of emphasis, and the shit just not working. So do you have the ability to adjust on the fly? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that is all on him because I do think even with the way he played the game, if BI hit that free throw, we win. If Devontae hit that free throw, we win. If CJ hit that free throw on the technical, we win. You know what I mean? So it was a combination of a bunch of things, but I do think that Willie Green made that game harder than it had to be. You know what I mean? I would have liked to see him go back to what worked in the past. Um, but we can move on to the game after that, which would have been the game against the Grizzlies. That was yesterday, last night. 132, 111 loss to the Grizzlies. I mean, not much to discuss there, man. A forgettable game. They got dominated the whole freaking game. Um,
That was disgusting, bro.
it's just tough. Like, I think kind of to your point about the Jazz game, it felt like we figured stuff out on defense. It felt like guys were playing with energy. It felt like they was playing with intent. You know what I mean? And we got to the Grizzlies game and that just went out the window. That didn't happen. They was slow. They wasn't rotating over to the ball. They wasn't playing with much energy. They didn't look into the game at all. Willie Hernan Gomez said after the game in a post game presser that they just didn't show up to play. And I'm glad that he could recognize that because that was it. I mean, I guess you can highlight that CJ McCollum had 32. You know what I mean? And it was a game without Brandon Ingram, so that kind of plays a factor too. But not much worth mentioning, man. I mean, Najee had 16 in 27 minutes, so I guess kudos to him. That was probably one of his better games of the season.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. It was for me. It was just the lack of, like you said, the lack of energy. It's like where's the energy? I mean, I know we're missing Bi, and I understand, but the lack of energy and the same thing happened today. The first quarter, like how are we not prepared to be out here and especially on national television against the Grizzlies? Where's the energy? Where's the want to get to your spots, to move the ball, to be in the right position on your rotations? Like it was nothing, man. It just everybody was just looking around this week, like, what's going on? It's like, come on, guys. How you go from playing damn near perfect against the Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz to just like pulling up goose eggs and just looking just straight out bad against the Orlando Magic and the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and
Like, come on,
that's
man.
that's what gonna lead me into the Magic game is because I think, and I mean not I think, I know that Brandon Ingram is this team's like identity. He's the heartbeat of the team. He is who they look to orchestrate things. You know what I mean? Whether it's through his scoring, through his passing, through his effort, he makes a lot of plays that I feel like energizes the team. Like he motivates them when things is going slow. You know what I mean? But I do feel like at some point, some of these guys they have to be able to generate something without that. You know what I mean? And that's when I look to this Orlando Magic game. So um, they just got done playing the Magic. Let me pull up the box score here. 108, 102 loss. Um, the thing that stick out to me yet again is the terrible start. They ended the first quarter down 30-17, which is to me against the Magic inexcusable, man. Like there's no glaring like standout defenders on the Magic that, you know, they just was missing shots. Put it like that. They wasn't making anything. They wasn't trying to generate much offense. The ball's sticking until 8 seconds left in the shot clock. Like it's just hard to be successful when you're playing like that. Uh, so that's when I ask you, without Brandon Ingram, what do you think is some potential solution? Because we know that like these individual guys are talented, but with this team, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of guys with individual ability on the court. So I look at players like Herb Jones. I think Herb Jones is an excellent player, but on the offensive end, he's not giving you nothing without being set up. You know what I mean? I look at Jackson Hayes. He's I'm not gonna say an off year because I think Jackson has played well over the course of the season, just as a whole. Like I think he's played well, but he doesn't shine without being allowed to be a lob threat. He needs a point guard that can throw lobs, find him at the rim, getting pick and roll action with him, which I thought CJ was going to solve, but I haven't been seeing much lobs from CJ towards Jax. Um, JV, he's another one, man. He's kind of hit or miss. I feel like he struggled against any big that can kind of match his strength. He struggles, like he disappears. He hasn't been rebounding well. I know this past game against the Grizzlies, he just got outworked by Steven Adams, which is, you know what I mean? I don't look at Steven Adams as one of the
Which is
top.
crazy.
Yeah. I don't look at Steven Adams as some, top talented center.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a talented player. Like I'm not gonna say he's not good, but I just don't think that was an excuse for JV to pretty much get X'd out of the game.
Bro,
Uh,
I th- for your point before, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but to your point, though, everybody was getting outworked. Dude, the amount of second chance points and second chance rebounds, like that was one of the most frustrating parts for me that game. Just no one was actually trying to get a rebound. Like it was disgusting to watch, bro. But my
yeah.
bad, you can go ahead. You can finish.
Nah, I mean I'm glad you jumped in right there, but uh just overall, like my point was like individually these players they can't they're not the type of players to get it going on their own. Like I think CJ McCollum is the only player outside of Brandon Ingram that can just give them the ball and clear out. So with that being said, you have to find a way to work into the strengths of the team. So I think part of that is if you want JV to start being able to work down low, you got to start hitting some shots. But you can't do that if Devontae Graham missing his looks, Tony Snell missing his looks, Najee Marshall missing his looks. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. This team is really bad and they struggle without Brandon Ingram because I think when Brandon Ingram out there cooking and the whole bench going crazy, Jose jumping up and down on the sideline, that kind of inspire people to get it going. That's when they play with energy. That's when they play like they give a shit. You know what I'm saying? But without that, how do you get these players to get into their bag? Because I really do believe that outside of Herb Jones, none of our role players really play their role when BI not on the court. You know what I mean? Like Herb is the only one that I look at and say he's the same when BI is there as he is when BI is not there. You know what I mean?
I mean, in my opinion, this team, not this team, but just in general. So let's take, for instance, I know like a Chris Paul. Like Chris Paul makes guys' job a lot easier. And I think that's what BI does also. He makes guys' job more easy on the offensive end. So you got BI, you got CJ McCollum, that's really most of the offense. So all the other guys gotta do is just stand in a spot, wait till BI or CJ McCollum get a double team, and just, it's practice at that point. Or just move off the ball. Now you just got CJ McCollum now. So now it's like back to square one before we drafted CJ McCollum. Like it's just BI. We all remember how that was. It was just if that one guy is not on or he's not playing good, then the rest of the team is not worth a shit because nobody else can get their own shot. I mean, JV can sometimes, but other than that, there's no one that can go get you a bucket because all those other guys are role players and need to be involved in the offense off of your main guy. That's what they are. And if they're not hitting shots like today, Tony Snell, he was off. I don't think he even hit a 3-pointer today. I mean, I stopped really paying attention.
Nah, he ended with 0 points. 31 minutes, didn't score a bucket.
Well, that's the same thing as if Devontae Graham was doing prior to CJ McCollum trade, or the same thing Garrett Temple was prior to the CJ McCollum trade before they benched him. You can't have guys on the court that's not contributing. If you have that, then you're bound to lose. Today was an off night, man. Nobody hit their shot. Najee was off. I'm surprised they put Trey Murphy in. He was off. No one was really making shots besides CJ McCollum and Jonas Valanciunas.
And this is my thing though, because I hear what you're saying, and my thing is, it's like if one player gives you 30, like I think that should be enough. That should be enough spark. That should be enough effort from your guy. So CJ McCollum had 32. If I don't even tell you the rest of the story versus the Magic, if your guy gives you a 30 burger, you should win the game. That's just me. Like you had mentioned, if BI having an off night before the CJ McCollum trade, like if BI having an off night, then it's real hard to win games because nobody else can really, you know what I'm saying? But CJ didn't have an off night. He had 32. I look at JV. He had 30 and 15. Like he did his job on the glass. He scored 30 points. Herb Jones, he had 15. You know what I mean? So between them, you know what I mean? You got the majority of the points. We needed 2 buckets from anybody else on the court. Anybody else on the roster, 2 buckets, and we win this game. But we don't get that. Like you got Jackson Hayes, he had 7 in 24 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's not horrible, but it's not good either. You know what I mean? Like Devontae Graham, 29 minutes, 7 points. Like for somebody who's literally on there as a shooter, like you're a liability on defense. You can't run the offense. You're not a orchestrator. You're not, you know what I mean? Like you gotta give me more than 7 points in 30 minutes, bro. Trey Murphy, 24 minutes, 4 points. You know what I'm saying? Which I kind of cut Trey some slack because he hasn't been working with this group. Like he go to Birmingham and he dropped buckets. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that has something to do with it. I know he just got recalled today, so obviously he might have to, travel back to New Orleans from Birmingham and all that. I don't know the situation, but he hasn't been with the team, so I cut Trey a little bit of slack. But just looking at the box score, 4 points in 24 minutes, inexcusable. That's not good. Jose, 7 points in 19 minutes. Jose serves other roles though, so I'm kind of not on Jose. Like I'm not looking at Jose to be the one to really go crazy as far like in the points column. He had a few impactful plays. I like the way Jose played, but Najee, bro, 11 minutes, nothing. You got a rebound and an assist, not good. Billy played 4 minutes. I don't know. Was that in garbage time? I don't even remember seeing Billy on the court. I wasn't even paying
Me
attention to this
neither.
game
Me
after
neither.
a while.
Yes.
But
Yeah, stop. But I mean, I think for the most part, they just couldn't get stops, man. It's like they would get a stop and they would cut it, and they cut it. I remember they even cut it. It was tied up. I mean, after that, TJ McCollum three point, they tied it up, and then after that, yeah, I looked again, and they was down 10 again. I was like, what? Like, how that fast? Like they would cut the deficit down every time, and then I mean, credit to the Magic. The Magic would answer right back and
yeah,
extend a lead. But you have to be able to. You trying to be a playoff team. You trying to have the league take you serious. It's like you have to be able to extend that lead, man. Whether or not you start bad or not, you was tied up. You have to be able to extend that lead against bad teams. And the Orlando Magic is a bad team, bro. If let's face it, if they was playing against anybody else worth of shit, they would have got blown out tonight.
no,
And
absolutely, absolutely.
so it's like they're a bad team. So you have to be able to extend that lead. And like AD was saying, you have to come out, you have to kill their confidence right off the bat because they're a young team. You cannot give them confidence and give them the hope, be like, you know what, we can win this game. And all of a sudden, fourth quarter, Terrence Ross came out of nowhere, started hitting shots. Like, guys, are we serious right now? And then they just had no answer, man. They
Well,
had no answer.
this is the thing that stick out to me because I understand the whole thing about you want to come out and get a good start early, kind of take away their confidence. You can't let them do that to you because that's exactly what happened. Like they started the game off, into the first quarter, it's already 30-17. Like I remember the first quarter
Yeah.
ending and me saying, "This is not good." Like the Magic should have never been in position to do that to the Pelicans. Like if you want to be a team that's respected, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like there's just no excuse. And I look at their box score, and everybody for the most part that played tonight contributed in a meaningful way. Like Wendell Carter, 13. Like that don't stick out to you. He had 13 and 8 in 29 minutes. It's not super impressive, but he did enough to keep his team in the game. Franz Wagner, 15 points. Cole Anthony, 19 points. Gary Harris, 16 points. Terrence Ross, 14 points. When you look at our box score, it's CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, and that's it. Herb had 15, so I'll count Herb too, but that's three players that did anything meaningful. Whereas on the Magic side, you got six players that did some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that actually did something when you go like, okay, that dude contributed. He was a reason why we won tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't just out there on the court. Like Tony Snell was just out there on the court. That's the kind of stuff that can't happen. You know what I mean? So
Pretty much. And I think most of the part it was just the time. the timely shots that Gary Harris, Terrence Ross was making, it all came pretty much in the fourth quarter. You know, like what a bad time for them to start catching fire, and they just had no answer for him, bro. Like that cannot happen. There was literally no one else on that court that was doing anything for a good stretch of that fourth quarter besides Gary Harris and Terrence Ross. And honestly, I feel like Terrence Ross even shot him back into the game. You know, he shot the Pelicans back into the game because he felt like he was on. He just kept on jacking up shots and he was breaking for a good little while. And I think that caused the Pelicans to come back sort of. But after that, it's like the plays they had a chance to shorten the lead, and like play after play in that little stretch, like 3 minute, 4 minute stretch, they would come down this jack of three. Tony Snell, he did a triple threat move in the corner. I remember that one because I was disgusted after I saw it. But he did a triple threat move, and he jacked up a three. Didn't pass the ball. Like, what the hell is this? Next possession, Devontae Graham came out of court, took the pick, jacked up a three, brick. CJ McCollum came down the court again, jacked up a three, brick. It's like Jonas was just cooking. Why can't we get a for sure 2 points? Why can't we play off of that? Why can't we get an open shot? Like, why can't we run the offense, bro? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and AD mentioned it too, is that especially with JV cooking like he was, because I tell you now, Franz couldn't do nothing with JV. Like he was struggling. You know what I'm saying? And even if JV don't go up and score, just get it in so they know they got to double Jonas. If you want a chance, you got to go double him. Throw it into JV. If JV don't like it, then he can kick it out to y'all for a better look. You know what I'm saying? Like, give him an opportunity. I just think they don't play smart basketball. They don't play inspired basketball without Brandon Ingram. It's just a lot of things that they got to work on, man. Willie Green talked about it in his post game, but he was basically saying that he don't know if it's going to be rotation changes or strategic changes, but he knows that whatever they're doing without Brandon Ingram, it ain't working. And shoot, we got what, another 10 days to go without him. So, and that's just until reevaluation. Hopefully they clear him to come back and play, but it's not looking good, man.
It's not looking good at all, bro.
It's not looking good. I really do hope that they don't lose every game until BI come back, because that'll be really bad. Then we'll fall into that trap of having a hope that the Lakers can't win nothing and hoping that Portland mind their business and keep blowing games. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to play that game, man. Win the games you're supposed to win so we can get into the play-in, because I think that's real important for this team. Because it's only so long that you can just keep, motivating players to see the long term. Like, eventually, when losing becomes the identity, that's when players don't give a shit. That's when you get the product that we had when Stan Van Gundy was the coach. When people just know, like, it's not happening. What are we going out here and fighting for? Because it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm scared of for this team. So we got to see the play-in. Hopefully they win it and then actually make it to the first round so they can see, like, okay, we've made some progression. Now what can we do to build on that? That's what I want for this team. And I feel like that has to be the goal for this team. It has to. Like, there's no getting around that. You know what I mean?
Well, let's just take the next 5 games. All right. just the next 5 games. I got the Hornets coming up Friday. The Rockets. The Suns, the Spurs.
Ugh.
You might say the Hornets and the Rockets are winnable, but are they really winnable after the way they just played against the Magic?
That's the thing.
I know the Hornets is better than the Magic. The Rockets, they just beat the Lakers, so I mean, hey, I don't know, but they for sure will lose to the fucking Suns because the Suns just beat the brakes off the Miami Heat. Okay. Then the Spurs, they lost to the Spurs with BI the other time they played.
Yeah.
with CJ McCollum. So are they going to win that game? I'm
I
not confident. And then they
I
got the
think
Hawks after that.
best case scenario out of that is 2-2 out of those next 4 games, and that's being optimistic. You know what I mean? Like with the way they played tonight, like
I
if
don't
I'm
know, bro.
judging off that, 0-4. If that's all I had to go off of, 0-4. I think this team knows how to play the right way. It's just can they get inspired to do that? Because it with this team, bro, like I'll be honest, I'm in a lot of the spaces and stuff, and I hear people talk about the team, and I get a good idea of their perception of the team. But we kidding ourselves if we think this roster is like great. You know what I mean? Like they're below average, in my opinion. Like I don't think we have much to be excited about outside of, the obvious and Herb Jones. Like everybody else to me is just we can easily upgrade. Like they're easily upgradable. You know what I'm saying? So with this team, you have to, if you want to find success, they have to play inspired basketball. They have to like want to really go out there and like leave it all on the floor. And I think it's really hard to do that without BI. Like I think for whatever reason, this team just look at BI as like this is the leader, this is the captain of the ship. We need him to get it done. And there's only so much that CJ can do by himself. Only so much that JV could do by himself. Which we can have this conversation at a later time, but I think JV pulled a fast one on us. He not the player that I thought he was gonna be. He not the player that he was in Memphis. I don't feel like. You know what I mean? Like he had a good stretch in the beginning of the year, and I think those losses compound and just kind of wore him out. You know what I mean? Like he just hasn't been playing like his full potential.
Well,
But
to argue back on with you on that, what point guard does he have, or what point guard did he have? You went from having John Morant and possibly, Tyus Jones even pretty damn good as a backup to having Devontae Graham as your point guard. I mean,
yeah, that
he doesn't run no offense at all. Like he has to rely on BI. Well, he had to rely on BI before we got TJ McCollum to set the offense for him. And now he has to rely on CJ McCollum that's not entirely used to playing that point guard role, which he's playing pretty damn good to say he barely played it, but he's not a true point guard. He doesn't have that point guard uh, mindset, if that
yeah.
makes any sense. He's more of a
Nah, I can
shooting
agree with
guard.
that.
You know what I'm saying? So he has to rely on people that's not even used to playing the point guard role to get him the ball in the right spots. Because they only run plays for JV only when he's cooking. Only when he has it going, that's the only time they run plays for him. And last year he was kind of like a vocal point. You know what I'm saying? Like they actually fed him the ball.
Yeah. It was an interesting stat. I remember when we got him, I was like my perception of him, because obviously I wasn't watching hella Grizzlies games. Like I watch them on national TV. Once the postseason started, I paid attention. But interesting stat from last season when he was on the Grizzlies, he had the highest usage rate on the team with Ja Morant. So like he really was the focal point for the Memphis Grizzlies. So just based on what I had saw of him and then hearing that stat, I was like, yo, we got a solid big. Like I expected him to be like a true like how we look at BI for offense. I thought we would be able to look at JV for that same thing. And some games he's lived up to that. But I feel like just kind of zooming out and looking at the season as a whole, we haven't been able to say that about JV a lot this year. Like he had a handful of games where he went crazy. I think tonight was one of those games. He scored 30. You know what I mean? Got 15 boards. Like he did what he was supposed to do. But I just think overall, I thought we would have a little bit different situation with JV. But I mean, I guess I can't complain too much. That's just me feeling played about the loss tonight, man. But we got some work to do over the offseason, man. I just really want to see. I would really love to see Zion back at some point this year, even if it's 5 games. You know what I mean? Like I just want to see what this team would look like if we weren't dependent on Tony Snell. You know what I mean? Like, because that's honestly what it boiled down to tonight. Can Tony Snell give us 2 buckets, 2, 3 buckets? Can Devontae Graham give us 2, 3 buckets? Like, I know Zion will be able to give us 2, 3 buckets. So, like, what would this team look like with Zion Williamson? That's the big thing.
That's a big if. Like, is he really going to come back this year? And is it really worth for him to come back this year?
I think it's
Because
absolutely worth it, even if it was for 2 games.
from a fan point of view, I think we all agree that it's worth it. But if organizational wise, do they think, well, do we really want to put him out there for 2 games? Whether because we can just let him sit out for the rest of the year and then have him train the whole offseason to make sure he's ready and fit for next year to take off.
This is the thing. So from basically reading different reports and everything, I feel like the idea or the vibe around the organization is we're not ruling him out, but it's most likely we're not gonna see him this year. But I think the reason that they're doing that is they're very precautious. When I look at like just the way the training staff handles injuries, they're super like passive, right? So like BI, if they think he has even a 1% chance of making this injury worse, we're gonna sit him, which is what I think we're seeing now. So I think they've taken that same approach with Zion by saying if we think it's even a slight chance he can worsen the situation, we're not gonna play him. But if they feel confident, even if it's for 2, 3 games, I think they're gonna, you would want to see what he looks like because data reasons. Like Devontae Graham can look like poop right now, but if you have Zion, BI, and CJ McCollum on the court at the same time as him, well, literally all he got to do is just sit in the corner and wait for the kick out, he might look outstanding. You know what I mean? But you won't know that unless you actually see what he looked like with everybody there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that can be the difference between do we want to overreact and ship him somewhere and bring somebody else in and try to start all over type deal, you know? So I do really think there's value, even if it's for the last 2 games of the year, 2, 3 games, 5 games, handful of games. I think it's value in seeing what Zion look like.
I can agree with that, but I can definitely agree with that take. I feel like what's the worst that can happen? I mean, you're not hurting. I mean, at that point, if it's only like 5 games left or so, I mean, what would you really be hurting? You'll probably either be in the playing game already, or you'd be out of it. So, what chances are you? I mean, what risk are you really taking at that point? So, I absolutely agree. I feel like if he's ready to go, if he goes to Griff and trades and be like, hey, I'm ready to go, put me in, bro. They should be okay. Let's go. You ready? You fit? You can handle the pressure. You can handle the up and down in the court for 30, 35 minutes. Because we all know, they always say, he didn't like the burst when he came off his first injury. He didn't like the way they only playing for 3 minutes, 4 minutes at a time. So I say, make sure he's ready. Make sure he can play at least 5 minutes, 6 minutes on the court at one time. Then give his breaks like the other ones. Make sure he can play 35 minutes, 30, 35 minutes. He's still only 21 years old. Make sure he's in shape and get his ass out there and let him run. Go ball, bro, because that's ultimately what he want to do. Go ball. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
We're
And
not,
I
we're
think
not
it's
damaging our seat or anything. So
yeah, I think it's a lot of value in that for the organization too. Just for the front office, because that I really do think that a lot of these players, and we've seen it now with BI being out. Like, of course, Tony Snell looked trash when you expected him to fill a void of Brandon Ingram. But he might look a whole lot different when you only need him to hit 2-3 shots a game. You know what I'm saying? With 3 other players on the floor that demand double teams. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a different situation. So I'm real curious in seeing, what it'll look like, what it'll play out to be, man. But we'll see, man. We back at it against the Hornets Friday, I want to say. And we'll be back next week to talk about wrap up the next week. But was there anything else you wanted to add before we get up out of here?
You talking about Pelicans wise or just in general?
Yeah, just in general, man.
The only thing I got off the subject of the Pelicans because they just really ruined my night. I'll say I hope Tyrann Mathieu come to New Orleans. I really hope.
Same. I would hate to see Marcus Williams go, but that would be good just for the city. You know what I'm saying? He won us, so that would be dope to see him on the team.
Man, I feel like you should sign Marcus Williams back, but Malcolm Jenkins is getting old, bro. You should really think about replacing Malcolm with Tyrann Mathieu. That's just me.
Yeah.
Because Malcolm is old, bro.
Yeah.
Malcolm been in the league for a long time. It's going to be I see him retiring within the next year or two because he was on a Super Bowl team in 2009. And we drafted him, what was it, 2007? Maybe? 2007, 2008?
I think so.
So it's like, man, he's on his last legs, and we need to start thinking about, replacing whether that's young in a draft or as with a free agent. But I would really enjoy Tyrann Mathieu, bro. TM7, black and gold, sign me up, baby.
Yeah, that would be dope, man. I'm real curious. One thing about the Saints, man, is I don't have the same worries as I do with they little brothers across the street. Like I feel like the front office for the Saints is gonna do what need to be done. Like they not gonna have. It's been a really long time since I felt like they just dropped the ball and we don't have nothing to look forward to. So I trust them. I want to see what they do, man. Hopefully they bring Jameis back. I feel like with a lot of the QB news around the league, like it's kind of setting the stage for a Jameis return. Like really, what other options would you have? You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people wanted Russell Wilson, and he went to Denver. So that pipe dream is done with. Like I think the stage is pretty much set for a Jameis return, which is what I wanted all along. So I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So come back home, Jameis, and then hopefully maybe we can get Tyrann. Things looking up.
Man, I tell you what, though, bro, they better not trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I will be one angry guy. Yeah, I saw those reports talking about they eager to make a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, bro, y'all better not. We all know what he is, and he is nothing more than what he is, and that's a game manager. Like, he couldn't even do it with the San Francisco 49ers. Come on, man.
I think that's just rumors, man. Like, I think maybe the front office might have showed some interest because I do think you, in this situation, you definitely explore your options. Like, I don't think they just sitting there saying, yeah, we running it back with Jameis. But I know that they feel comfortable with running forward with Jameis. They got to. You know what I mean?
I mean, you really have no other option, honestly. Either him or Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I think Jameis. You give Jameis another shot, and if he stay healthy this time, like I think we in good shape. If I gotta see Taysom as my quarterback, then I'll just give it all up. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but Jameis got to be a starting quarterback. They got to bring him back.
I don't think I watch another game if Taysom comes out as the starting quarterback. I think I might just have to be. I might have to just be a fan looking from the outside in, bro.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens, and obviously as those type of things start to ramp up, we'll definitely be, talking about it here on the pod, man. But as always, if y'all stop by for another week to rock with us, we appreciate y'all, man. Please subscribe, like, leave some comments, get our stuff going in the algorithm for us, man. Y'all leave some comments and hit the like button, do all that social media stuff. But I'll be putting uh social media handles in the description as always. So y'all go and follow us. Let us know what y'all think about the episode on Twitter. And we'll see y'all next week, man.
Yes, sir.